One super important topic, 5 T's. Let's talk about building awareness in relationships that are potentially toxic. Let's go. Alright, so just quickly to give you all 5 of the T's, we've got time, we've got treasure, we've got talent, we've got team, and we've got trigger. I'll explain those all as we go. First things first, time. No matter what, our time is being taken. We only get to spend our time once. We need to be super careful because that is our most important, our most finite resource. Our body's going to wither over time. Our money's going to up and down and go wherever. Our mind even might just start to disappear, or who knows what's going to happen. We could get whacked in the head. We've only got one amount of time though, and if we keep giving that away, if we keep letting that get taken, if we keep just completely squandering it, we do not get that back. That simple. That's why this one is basically the most important. We're building awareness about toxic people here. Toxic people are the controllers, the manipulators, the people that are going to take what they want out of our lives. If we're not being careful with our time, if we start giving our time to these people, they're just going to take everything. Usually, well, from what I've seen anyway, that's where they start. They'll love bomb you. They'll do everything they can to keep you around. They'll just take that life out of you 1 second, 1 minute, 1 moment, 1 hour, 1 outing, 1 holiday at a time. They'll just take. If they can wrap you up and have your time wrapped up, if they can get you so used to being around them, used to the drugs that they give you mentally, if they can get you used to the feelings of being around them, you're going to give up your time yourself, and that is exactly what they want. First thing that you can do is lose your time. This is by being idle. If we're idle or we're making an idol of this person, look at the pun, then straight away you're going to lose your time. It's not going to be something that you're really thinking about. If you're not doing anything, if you're not moving towards a goal, if you haven't got a direction that you're heading towards, you're basically just wasting your time. You're sitting here doing nothing, and that time is just going to keep going. We can be running and not moving at all. We can run around in our minds. We can watch Netflix, watch TV, do whatever all day. We can waste our time in video games and stuff. But that clock is going to keep running anyway. It's going to keep going, and we're going to be losing our time. If these controllers and manipulators can get in and they can suck that time away like that, if they can get us literally just wasting our time running around thinking about their garbage, trying to get rid of the issues and the things that they've placed into our heads, boom, they've got you. Next thing that we can do is we can give our time away. That's what these people are going for. They want us to not care about our time by being idle for too long, turning them into an idol, so that they can start to take our time, so that we are giving it willingly away to them. If we think that everything that we want in life, if we think that the things that we need, desire, the things that we crave are coming from this person, we're just going to throw that time at them. We don't realize how important this time is. We don't want to lose it. We don't want to give it away. We want to do the third option. We want to spend it. We need to be choosing what we are doing with our time. If we're not making the choice, chances are that somebody's taking it. The boss wants overtime, that bad relationship at home, they want to just suck it dry from you. Our children need us to spend our time because it might feel sometimes like they're taking our time, but we need to show them that we care. We need to show them that they're actually one of the most important things in our life. One of the most important things in our life. If we're not spending that time properly, if we're not giving it away, if we're not aiming it where we want it, if we're not choosing the direction for our time, if we don't make that choice, it will get taken. That simple. No if, no and, no buts. Spend your time. Be careful. Be conscious of where your time is going. Be very, very careful and very guarded of your time. Make it a conscious decision, and you'll be amazed how many more things you can do, how much better your life will be, how much you can improve, how much more you start to value your time, which means that you'll go for that raise. You'll literally change your job. You will do all kinds of things to work out the money that you are actually worth. If, just like with our finances, we start to take stock of our time. It is important. Spend it wisely. Don't give it away. Don't just lose it by being idle or letting someone manipulate you without you realizing, which is given away anyway. Spend your time. Spend it. It's yours. You only get it once. Please. I'm dribbling on right now. I'm repeating this over and over because it is that important. I implore you. I beg you. Please choose to spend your time. You only get this once. You only get to feel this way once. This time is going to change. You're going to feel different in 3 years, 5 years. If you get hit in the head, who knows how long. Please spend your time. Second point, treasure. We need to budget our treasure. We need to think about what we're doing. We need to budget the things that we've got. We've got our money, we've got our emotions, we've got our effort. I've just talked about our time. These are the things that we can budget. If we're budgeting with our money, like I just said with our time, why don't we budget with all these other things? Users and abusers are going to take that money. They're going to do what they can subtly. That is the whole thing here. They will subtly creep in and take these things off of you when you don't even have them. You'll feel like you're choosing to do it. You'll feel like a good person. They'll do everything they can to give you that massage at just the right time in just the right way to get you throwing everything at them. Be careful where your money is. Budget it out. Work out where this stuff is going. Every little bit. If you start to write this stuff down, just like with the time, you will start to be more aware of it. Same with your emotions. Your emotions are another thing that we need to budget. There's only so much that we can give. Working in a bunch of caring roles, doing disabilities, working in the schools, literally needing to work with a traumatized, anxious, and completely desolate and desperate child in my own home. If we're not careful with how we spend our emotions, if we're not careful with where those things are going, if we're not careful about how we're literally using our care and our affection and our attention, these things are going to burn out. They are going to run out. Again, we've only got a limited amount of this stuff daily, whatever. We need to find those things that are going to emotionally fill us back up, emotionally get us back to like that baseline, get us to a heightened level so that we can keep giving. If we're not filling up, we can't keep flowing out. It is that simple. Budget your money, budget your time, budget your emotions. It's the exact same thing. We've only got so much to give. A lot of people have a high capacity. That's where these people will come in. They'll try and use you. They'll try and abuse you. They will manipulate you. If you're not taking stock of this stuff, you need to start to be aware of how you're feeling, when you're feeling that way, and why you're feeling that way. You can start to talk this through with people. By discussing it with somebody that's actually listening closely to you, they can begin to show you some of the blind spots that you've got, some of the places that you are giving this stuff away. This isn't another expensive resource. It's finite over the time. We might be able to push for a week. We might be able to push for a month. Some people can only push for a couple of hours. Make sure that you know where you're at emotionally so that you can keep giving where it actually matters. Family, friends, children, all of that stuff, work. We need to be careful with our emotions. We need to be filling this stuff back up. The next thing that we need to make sure we're budgeting is our actual effort. There's only so much that we can do. There's only so many coffees that you can have in the day. There's only so much you can do with the amount of sleep that you get. If we're not careful with the effort that we're putting out, we can burn ourselves out. I'm pretty much thinking it's in this order because we need the money to live. We need the emotions to be able to keep going and to put in the effort. And if we're wasting any of those things, we're going to start to crumble and we're just going to be giving our time away because we're always chasing our tail. That's where I was at one point. That's where I have been until the last couple of years. I've made the effort. I've started to really take stock of these things. Let's put it in the right order. I've started to take stock of these things. I'm still stuttering. By taking stock of these things, I've been able to completely turn my life around. It is that simple. We need to treat this stuff like a budget. We need to nail this stuff down and figure out where we're giving out and where we're taking back in so that we can't even just keep it balanced, but fill up where we're taking in more than where we're giving out. There's a rule with firefighters that I've heard. I don't know where from. It's from in America somewhere. I just don't know which fire station. It's an 80% rule. If you've got 100% effort, that's all we really have. We can talk about 115%, which I like to say, but if we think about the actual effort that we've got in reality, if we've got our 100% effort right here, if we actually just give out to the 80%, when there is an emergency, we've got that extra 20% to give. We've got that extra thing where we can turn it up. Just think of like a sprinter, a basketball player, any kind of sport, any kind of boxing, any sport. Let's go with that. If you're only putting out about 80% effort and your level of where you're at is 80%, that extra 20 when you need it is right there. Just like that, nice and quick. It's right there and ready. You don't even need to have some real extra reserve because you smartly just calculated for that in your planning, in your practice, in your progress. Work at 80% so that when there's an emergency, you've got that extra 1/5. Now, our treasure. What do we spend these treasures on? Where do we spend our money? Where do we spend our emotions? Where do we spend our effort? Which is always going to be where our time ends up from these three things. If we can do that, if we can budget those things, if we can really take stock of where those things are going out and again, where they're coming back in, boom, we're way, way further ahead. A good way to do this is to figure out what do we value. You can look at what you value. that's probably where most of your finances are going to go. If you can figure out what you value, that's probably where you're going to like to give, because that's one of your languages, one of the ways that you love other people, but it's also going to be one of the ways that you potentially take in. That's the thing. If you can figure this stuff out, if you can figure out where your treasure is going, then you can start to figure out what you actually need to keep giving to other people to have that higher capacity. That's how you do it. Where are your lines? You need boundaries. You need to figure all these things out. You need to figure out where it is that you don't want people to cross. I've said it before, you start with a little line, you turn that into like a track where you're almost controlling and patrolling even the perimeter, and then you want to actually build a wall. You don't want a wall where people can't penetrate it, but you need a wall so that it takes a lot longer for people to get over it and to get into where your actual real treasure is. You need to keep people out that little bit, even if that's at 1/5 again, even if it's 10%. It's got to be at least that 10th though. You need to make sure that you are keeping yourself safe, that you are setting smart boundaries, that you know where your lines are, that you know when your treasure is under attack. These people, these manipulators, these controllers, these abusers, these straight up narcissists, these people with enough trauma and hurt themselves even, they might not even realize what they're doing. But if you don't realize where your boundaries are, where your lines are, they are going to run you over every single day. Third point, talent. What talents have you got? Sit there and take stock. Think about it. Go really deep. I don't care how stupid you think the thing is. I don't care how low you think your talent is. If you feel like you've got a talent, literally get a piece of paper, write that stuff down. Write down where your talents are. Write down all the different little bits and pieces that you've got. Write down all the things that you can do. Those things are things that you should value, things that you should spend your treasure on, things that you should spend your time on. If you can figure out where your talents are, you can figure out how to improve your life so much better, and you can give to all these people around you and be a real beacon, a real hope, a real changer in your family, in your community, in the people around you. Figure out your talents. That's another place that these people are going to come in. They're going to try and come in and take your talents. They're going to realize what you've got before you even realize it. That's why you need to take stock of it. These users and abusers are going to figure out your talent. They're going to go, I can steal that. I can feel vicariously by attaching to this person that talent's mine. That's how they operate. I've had people that I know that couldn't sing before, that I've mentioned in other videos, say that they're great singers and literally think that they can do some music stuff because I've got some music skill. I've been playing drums since I was like knee high or whatever. I used to pull out the saucepans and pots and pans and like put on little shows and stuff. People are going to try and attach to the talents that you've got when they don't even have a talent in that area, because it's going to make them feel bigger. They're going to realize that they can use your talent and piggyback off it and make themselves look better. That's all these users and abusers are going for. If you figure out where your talents are, what it is that people might want from you, then you're going to be able to see when these people are trying to take it, trying to piggyback on it, trying to put their little hook into you through it. They'll also just flatter you with it, so make sure you know where your talents are and you don't let people just talk you up and puff you up, because that's where you come in for a fall. What can you actually do? What things can you do? What are not just your talents, but your skills as well? Where are you competent? Where are you growing? Where are you learning? What can you in reality actually do? Figure these things out, because again, they're going to be where they fill you up, but it's also where these people are going to come in and are going to try and take away what it is that you do. My stepdad, for example, my dad, for example, I call him dad, he literally just has an uncanny, insane skill and talent, I guess, for just serving people, for helping people. I don't know what need he's trying to fill in himself, because I honestly believe that's where it comes from. But that's one of his actual talents. That's something that just happens naturally. And I've seen him get used. I've actually accidentally used him myself, because I know what he's like. I know what he'll do. If we don't realize these things about ourselves, anybody can come in and run over us and take that thing and just take a million miles off you without you even realizing what's going on. You wake up one day, you're burnt out, you're flat, you're sore. It's just like me when I was doing one of my youth work jobs. I knew what I was doing. I knew how hard I was working, and I got taken advantage for because I didn't have enough boundaries. I didn't realize how much talent I truly had with what I was doing, and I let people run me ragged and just completely disrespect me because I thought that I was being good. I thought I was being nice, but really I was undervaluing myself. That's why knowing exactly what you can do, what your talents are, is so important. And again, just what do you do? We've got what you can do, but what do you actually do? There's a big difference between what is possible and what we can do and what we are doing. Usually it's more like this. This is what we can do and this is what we are doing. If we can get what we're actually doing up to what we can do, we are going to go so much further in life. And again, that confidence is going to push these abusers, these manipulators, these controllers out of the way. They're not going to be able to keep up with us. They're not going to be able to understand what's even going on. And we are going to be so happily busy and passionate and directed and having that momentum that they won't even be able to latch on. We're going to be moving too quickly and they won't be able to suck on like barnacles on the bottom of a ship. Boom, that is the end of that one. Fourth one, team. Who have you got around you? If you don't take stock of who you've got around you, what kind of people are around you, what they can bring to you and what you can bring to them, you are going to get used and abused by the people that are going to try and latch onto you. Just like with the talent, you need to understand what kind of people you bring around you, what kind of skills and expertise and talent you bring to a team, and how you can build this team up. Because if you get the right team around you, these people are going to get seen a mile off by some of the people in the team. They're going to be shooting off these red flags for you, and you can literally just turn and run from these complete abusers and manipulators. Figure out who you've got around you, make a strong team. Why are these people around you? That's our next question. Why are these people around you? Who's in this team? Why are they there? There's always a reason. If we invited them there because we need someone to make ourselves feel good, it's just something that we do. Why are these people there? What are they trying to get out of us, and what are we getting out of them? It sounds kind of dirty and terrible to say it out loud, but it's true. There's always an exchange going on, and if there's not, then you're the one that's getting just completely taken advantage of. Figure out why you're around people and why these people are around you. What do you get out of it? Again, there's always an exchange. It sounds terrible, but you need to know what you're actually getting out of this interaction, out of this relationship. If you can take stock of that properly, it's going to sound bad, but you know how to use this relationship. You know how to keep yourself safe in this relationship because you've got your boundaries worked out. You know where your treasure is. You know who you are and what you can do. You're improving that stuff. So now if you've got someone around you that just likes to tell tall stories, at least you know. You can go and hang out with that person. You can literally just have your fun, not take too much stock of what they're actually saying, and just enjoy yourself. That's fine. Do that stuff. As long as your goals are lining up, or at least you know why you're spending time with these people, it is great and fine to relax with them. But if you're not really getting something out of it, if it's not improving your life, it's a waste of that time. And it goes back to our point number one here. Why bother wasting your time? Know who you've got around you, why you're around them, and what you actually get out of it, and what you can give to them too. There's nothing wrong with being around people and improving them. That is completely great as well. It helps both of you really, because the more that you teach, the better you are and the more that you learn. What do these people bring to you? What do you get out of them? Same deal. It's the exact same thing. Work out what they're bringing to the table. Work out what kind of interaction you're having. Figure out even more what you can be giving and what you're bringing to the table, because that's almost more important. But just be taking stock of who's in your team, how you can help them, and how they're helping you. Where does all of that leave you? With all of these things, that's the whole point. We've only got so much of an emotional battery as well as our time. We need to know where this stuff is leaving us. We need to know when we're giving out too much, when we're taking too much of somebody else, because we don't want to be manipulated and controlled. We need to be very, very careful with these things. That's why these hard questions that feel really, really weird for me personally anyway, to be asking. It doesn't sound good, it doesn't feel good, but we need to do it. Otherwise, we're not being realistic. And if we're not being realistic, why bother doing anything? We need to be real with ourselves. We need to be real with the people around us. Otherwise, it's complete garbage and no real relationship anyway. Now we can figure out what we can actually change once we've taken stock of all these things. What can we do to really, really give out? What can we do to improve this situation? Because that's what it's all about. Giving. In the Eastern world, if you're depressed, you don't go like in the Western world here, where you go and go, what can I do for myself? What can you do to make yourself feel better? What makes you blah, blah, blah? You literally go and help somebody else. It gives you a direction. It gives you a purpose. It gives you a meaning in life. That's what we all need. This is probably going to cut out on me soon. All right. Hopefully my angle's the same and I've moved my camera. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going with it. There we go. All right. Last point, number 5. Triggers. No. All right, there we go. All right. Now, point number 5. Trigger. This is our OODA or our OODA loop. However that sounds good to you, that's what it is. OODA. There's 4 of them. Observe, orientate, decide, and act. This is how we should just live life. If we can do this in every situation, in every realm of our lives, we are going to go so far. This is literally for like shooting. This is literally like Mortal Kombat with a gun. This is how you do it. This is basically the way to draw and to get everything done quickly and efficiently. It's deadly stuff, and it is how to keep yourself alive, especially in these manipulative and controlling and abusive relationships. First thing, Observe. You want to look at where you are. You want to look at where you're at. You want to take in all of your surroundings. You want to take in everything that's going on. I'm just thinking of a little bit out of Men in Black, where in the original one, he's standing there looking at all these aliens and everyone else is shooting and going nuts, and he's observing what's going on. He takes one shot right at the end and pops some poor little girl in the head. It's only cardboard cutouts. But literally, everyone else is like aliens doing like chin-ups and all this other stuff. This is a girl with books that are way too advanced for who she probably is, and he shoots her in the head because he figures that she's up to something wrong. If we can observe everything properly, if we can start to take in all of the information before we do anything else, if we just slow ourselves down and have an actual look around, really use our brain and start to think a little bit about what's going on and let this stuff take in before we do anything out. Same with speaking. If we can listen to what everyone's doing around us first, if we observe the room, if we read the room first, that's how we move forward better. That's how we actually get somewhere. That's how we look like the smartest person in the room. Keep your mouth shut, take your time. Same thing here. Observe. Second bit of the trigger. Orientate. Figure out where you actually are in this thing that you've just observed. Figure out where you can actually help, where you're going to hinder, what's actually going on. Observe everything, orientate yourself. That's how you do it. Next point, now you decide. You've looked at everything, you've taken in all the facts and stuff, you've orientated and figured out where you actually are, what's actually going on, who else and what else is around you, what the situation is actually truly entailing. Now you can decide. That is the only time to decide what you're actually going to do. You need to do all these things in order, and every single time that you decide to actually act. That way, your action holds much more weight, has much more impact, keeps you much more safe, and is usually, or has a better probability, which is the whole game, probability game, to be the best action, the most powerful and effective action. That's it. Observe, orientate, decide, act, OODA or OODA loop. Remember that thing. That's how everyone should be living their life. These 5 things, our time, our treasure, our talent, our team, and our trigger. This is how we can actually build awareness in ourselves, in our relationships, in every part of our life, but more specifically when people are trying to use and abuse us. If we're not doing these things, if we're not properly taking stock, people are going to run over us every single day, all day long. This is how to keep yourself safe. This is how to figure out what is truly going on. This is how to cut through a lot of the garbage and programming and lies that people will be trying to spit into our lives. Everyone comes, I wish that I knew the percentage right now. I only just thought to look it up then. We literally all come across a psychopath at some point, right? Surely. That number in the population, surely we've all had some sociopath or psychopath or straight up narcissist in our life. This is how to figure out who they are. This is how to keep ourselves safe. The closer the relationship, the more these 5 points are important. Take care of your time. Figure out where your treasure's going. Make sure that you take stock and take care of your talents. Build the right team around you and figure out who's truly in the team that you do have around you, because everyone around you is making a team. Bam, pull the trigger. Observe, orientate, decide, act. That's how you do it. You can do this. I don't care what it is you're going through. Figure out exactly what your next move is. Get the help and the support that you need. Bam, pull the trigger, decide, and act. You have this. You can do this. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good time. See you later.